Hello and welcome to the Lou Review podcast. I'm your host, Rosa Hart, and today I am joined by Dee Dee Taylor. Thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to get to talk to you again. We went out to lunch the other day, and it was just so awesome getting to know you. You're so inspiring. And tell us a little bit about your business and what you are known for right now. And then I can't wait to get into your origin story.
Well, thank you. So, and inspired, that I appreciate being called that. I would have never in a million years thought that I would be inspiring to others. So, thank you. So I own 502 Hemp and 812 Hemp, and I consider us wellness centers, also cannabis dispensaries. We do a little bit of everything here, a lot of education, which I am all about because cannabis products are very new to Kentucky and to Indiana. And I love what I do. So, I mean, you go from there. We can go from there.
Right. Um, so you recently won an award for NAWBO, I believe. What does it stand for? It's for business women.
National Women's, okay,
National Association of Women
National
Business
Women,
Owners.
yes,
Is that
National
right?
Association of Women Business Owners.
There you
Yes.
go.
I
Yeah.
always forget the association part.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. I won that. So I won their Public Policy Catalyst Award. I won that in 24.
Hmm.
And I won that award because of all the work I did on the Delta 8 lawsuit and the fact that even though all the work I did, it still benefited other women owners, other business owners, other women business owners in my field. So even though it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's cutthroat, really. I think a lot of people in the hemp business and in the hemp industry, we all try to help each other because we have enough people trying to cut us down, legislators, lots of legislators. So, and I mean, yeah, I'm going to do the work because it's going to benefit all of us. And I was very blunt. I would have never guessed I would have won that award. So I was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, this is what I did. And I remember going after I won, I went back and looked at my submission for it. And I was like, dang, like I really didn't think I would win that because it was just very blunt and to the point. Yeah, this is what I did. And this is all the advocacy work I did. And how it benefited all of us, all women that are in this space. So that was and the fact that one of the defendants was sitting in that room when they gave me the award, like it couldn't have been any better. Like seriously, that was probably one of the highlights of my career, I must say. Yeah,
Right.
it really was.
Well, it's a big deal, and your advocacy means a lot to a lot of people, and it's so controversial. It really is. And so the fact that you are, I feel like, such a peacemaker, honestly, in such a controversial space, which you probably don't feel
It's
like it
hard.
because you're fighting a lot, and so you probably don't feel like a peacemaker. But what I see is a lot of community building and a lot of, like you said, education because and we'll get into that here in a little bit, but tell us
Mhm.
how in the world you got into the hemp business and legally practicing and educating in Kentucky and Indiana.
So, So the running joke in my family, my nephew, he said it best. He said, "Oh my gosh, Aunt Dee, you're a drug dealer." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And then I was like, "I'm a legal drug dealer." So running joke, but
Yeah.
I actually have a paralegal degree. So I had always anticipated going on to law school. And then I started working for attorneys, and no offense to any of them. I just decided I did not want to be an attorney. I do still wish I went to law school though, but that's beside the point. So I actually got in this business because of my husband. He suffers from seizures, and he was not born with seizures. He is a veteran, so they believe that his seizures are they believed that it was service related. He started having them in his late 30s. I think just a couple years before he and I met. We met back in 2009. And, he didn't even want to tell me. And I was just like, well, what kind of person would I be if I didn't want to date you just because you have seizures? I like that just, I don't know. I just find that bizarre. Um,
Sounds
you
like
love
he
the
was
person
lucky to
for
find
who they
you.
are.
Yeah,
He was. He
he
definitely
was
got the
lucky to
trophy
find you.
wife. I tell him that all the time. But he had a really bad episode in 2010, and he ended up kind of waking up, coming to, because he has grand mal seizures, and there's like that post epileptic state that he kind of goes through. And God love him. He ended up coming to at the gas station that's about 3 blocks away from his house.
Mm.
And his daughter like knew he was missing, went missing, and they called the police. But luckily, the lady knew who he was at the gas station, and she, was like, "John, John, you okay?" And like he was like, "Oh, like kind of what am I doing here?" And his running joke is that even in his post epileptic state, he could find the beer cooler. Ha. He does not even drink now, which is funny. He's been
Good.
completely off alcohol for over a year and a half, which I'm proud of him for that,
Mhm.
or close to a year and a half. But
Mhm.
so after that, I hadn't moved here yet, and I said, we went to see his neurologist together, and all the neurologist did was give him more pills. He was already taking a cocktail of Lamictal, Dilantin, and phenobarbital, and they had him up to 28 pills a day.
Oh,
And I was like, yeah. And I was like, these pills aren't obviously doing anything to help you. You're still having the seizures. So um, he ended up I was like, dude, have you ever thought about marijuana, like smoking it? Like maybe that'll help. I had seen some things on Facebook. It definitely was not legal then, not in this state. And I think it had just become legal out west. So he actually traveled out there, met with some people, learned how to make CBD oil from cannabis, and he started making it at home, and he started using it, and all of a sudden he wasn't having seizures anymore. And then he ended up getting doing a seizure monitoring unit, but he had already started using the cannabis, so they completely took him off all the pills, and he did not have a seizure while he was in the seizure monitoring unit. And I was like, did you tell him you had been using it? And he's like, no. So he went 5 years seizure free, and then in that time frame in 2014, he became one of the first licensed processors in the state. And literally, he was starting to extract cannabis, even though there really wasn't any then, no hemp then. That was under the hemp pilot program of 2014. And, but he was still making his products at home too.
and what was he
It
making?
helped him. He was making his own cannabis oil. So
Was
he
that
literally
for
was distilling it,
was that for
him.
ingestion or
Mhm.
topical or
As
both?
hmm Yeah, he just did internally. So he did an oil that he used sublingually and then was using it daily. So yeah, he wasn't making topicals just yet. Those didn't come till a little bit later on. But yeah, he was using it sublingually, and it was helping him. So that's kind of what made him want to pursue a like extraction and processing so he could make the products, because what he was doing at home, I was terrified the DEA was going to come in and bust us. I was so like, because I was the paralegal, like I'm on the legal side, and I'm like, what are we getting ourselves into? Because I was like, I'm happy it works for you, but honey, there's not that many people that have seizures, and he's like, it doesn't just help people with seizures. But it wasn't until 2016 that I truly was on board. Um, I called him. I was having panic attacks. My hours had been cut. We had a daughter in high school, Gary go to college. I was kind of the breadwinner because it really hadn't you know, taken off for him yet. And I was just like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I called him having a panic attack, almost wrecked the car. And he's like, would you just try the oil? And I was like, okay. Cause I mean, I had tried everything for my anxiety, my whole, like, I really suffered with depression and anxiety growing up. Very, very rough childhood. Um, and so I've always dealt with that aspect of my life. And I tried Zoloft. It gave me irritable bowel syndrome. Well,
Oh,
that was horrible because I ended up missing work a couple days. It was so bad,
wow.
or being sent home from work. So it was like I can't do this stuff anymore. And I tried a whole bunch of different medications, and I always suffered from the side effects. So when he suggested it, I was the biggest skeptic. I am not even gonna lie. I was such a skeptic about it. And I was like, all right, I'll try it. Well, I did. It was the nastiest tasting stuff ever. But after a few days, I was like, oh, wow, okay, I'm not feeling all this weight on my chest. I'm not, I can, I'm sleeping better. I'm not nearly as moody. I'm like, wow, okay. So, yeah, there might be something to this. And that's kind of when I started doing all of my own research, my own, reading as much as I possibly could. The fact that our government owns a patent on cannabis oil and it lists schizophrenia, Parkinson's, and seizures, that was like, really? Like, we've been lied to for a really long time. And then I think the most interesting thing to me, because I always thought that, THC, the psychoactive cannabinoid, was, bad and a drug. But the more research I did, the fact that we all have an endocannabinoid system, we have, receptors in our body, CB1 and CB2, that actually our body uses the cannabinoids that's in the cannabis plant. And hemp is cannabis, marijuana is cannabis, it's Cannabis sativa, it's the same plant. So while our government cut that plant in half, and anything under 0.3% THC, Delta 9, is considered hemp, and anything over that is considered marijuana, it's the same plant. And in 2018, the new farm bill that was signed by Trump and worked through with McConnell and all that good stuff, they made hemp products legal. So, but technically in 2016, I actually started selling these products, because once I realized how much it was working for me, I looked at my husband. I said, well, what do you think? I think everybody should be using this. Like, this is way healthier, no side effects. I feel great. I'm sleeping, and I said, what do you think if I tried to sell these products and educate? And he goes, you should do it. And I said, I'm not a salesperson. Like, I am brutally honest. And he goes, you definitely should do it. And I was like, okay. So I started setting up at fairs and festivals around town. I was probably the first person to do it. And I was terrified every time a police officer walked by my booth, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, please don't let me go to jail. I don't want to be a criminal. I'm the good one out of my family, I stay out of trouble. Um, right. I put myself through college. I'm like, I'm the good one. Not that my siblings are bad, but, that was just kind of always in the back of my head. Like, I do not want to go to jail for this stuff. And then in 2018, when that farm bill passed, I was like, wow, okay, so this is definitely moving forward. There was a humongous boom. I ended up opening my store actually before it was signed. So I opened my store in October. Technically, I was open before then, but I opened even before the farm bill was signed. So I definitely feel like I'm one of the OGs when it comes to some of this. I will not take credit for all of the advocacy work that others have done before me, because they have been fighting for these products for a really long time. I really, in my thought process, it's really just been since 2010, and helping my husband trying to find something for him. But in 2018, I opened the store because I was just like, I got my little groups. Like, I had my people, I was delivering products. One of my longtime customers is like, yeah, we did our first drug deal at Iroquois Park. And I was literally taking him some CBD oil. He'll still tell you that
Oh
story.
no.
And it was for his wife who has, and it was for his wife who has ovarian cancer. So,
Was
and
it
she's
for
still alive.
was that for her nausea so she could eat?
It was for her nausea and also most people don't know this, but CBD, the cannabidiol, what it does for cancer people is that it helps keep your healthy cells healthy,
Mm.
so they can then fight the cancer cells. I never say it's a cure because I'll never say that, no matter how much research they do. What I think truly that CBD does and THC does and all the other cannabinoids in the plant, because there's a ton of them. I think what they do in your body is they kind of help your body find its homeostasis. So whatever's going on with the craziness, it just kind of helps your body stay leveled out to where it'll help your body fight whatever else is going on. So for people with inflammation, it helps with inflammation. It's amazing.
Mhm.
People with fibro, people with pain, people with cancer, autism, like the list goes on and on. And that's why a lot of people just like, well, yeah, how can it fix everything? But that's kind of, it doesn't fix everything. It helps your body heal itself. And what really changed my mind about it, and I started to mention it before, but if THC truly was a drug, why does our body keep it? Our bodies are designed to get rid of the poisons. It's designed to get rid of toxicity, toxins. That's why, our liver works. That's why our kidneys work. It flushes all that stuff out. You have to keep using medications to keep them in your system, right? Well, if you smoke marijuana, that THC that you smoke, it can last for up to 30, 45 days, depending on the person. Our bodies store it in our fat cells, and it uses it for what it needs it for. So that kind of dawned on me that THC really isn't a drug. Now, can you get high from it? Yes. But your body is still going to use it medicinally. And it is so hard to convince people that truly believe in the government's propaganda when it comes to this product, especially legislators. It has been very, very, very difficult to get them to realize that there is actual research out there. There are studies, granted, they're not all from the United States because we've only been able to study this recently, really. A lot of this study comes from Israel and other countries that actually have been doing the studies. So while new stuff is coming out daily, like I'm always reading something new about one of the cannabinoids in the plant and what it can help with. Like my education is always ongoing. At least that's how I feel, because I always feel like I'm learning something new. Oh, THCV, they talk about how that's an appetite suppressant, where THC will get you to eat like the munchies, right?
Mm.
So, yeah, so it's kind of interesting. And THCV, as in Victor, it is great for people with ADD and ADHD. It helps you stay focused. And if you don't use a ton of it, there's no psychosis to it. So to me, that could replace, um, you know, Adderall and Ritalin, however you pronounce that.
Yeah, Ritalin.
And yeah, and maybe actually help more naturally instead of a prescription that is based on meth,
Right.
right?
There's a stimulant that was designed for Nazi soldiers.
Exactly. And most people don't realize that if you're putting your kid on that stuff, you are literally putting them on a legal form of meth. They
Right.
don't get it.
It's
And
so
and
scary.
that's it is so horribly scary.
Yeah.
So I just think that we we need to take a step back and question why this was taken out of our diet, because most people don't realize that reefer madness happened. It was based on race and it was a way for them to lock up the brown people. It was designed to, DuPont did not want the fiber and the ropes to be used because they created a synthetic material. The wood industry or the logging industry didn't want it used because you can cut down trees for paper. Hemp is extremely versatile. It should have never been taken out of our diet because our bodies use it, and it should have never been taken out of the source for paper, for rope, for fiber, none of that. And there's so many different reasons why they did that, but it's just, the more we come to question and the more research that is being done, the more people like myself and others in this industry, like we are constantly fighting to keep the products legal. It is a never ending battle, it feels like. Every session, especially local, like for the state of Kentucky, it seems like every session since they passed it and made it legal, we have fought for something. Right now, there's a big federal issue going on, and I'm praying that, when people hear this, I'm still in business because I'm extremely concerned that they are going to walk back the legalities of hemp. And the worst part about this is that not only are we fighting some of the bigger industry lobbyists, which would be alcohol and um, big pharmaceutical, but we're also fighting amongst ourselves because big cannabis and actual, medical and recreation, where they can sell the marijuana, even though it's the same plant, they are losing money to the hemp people because our products don't cost as much, even though it's the same plant, but they have an ungodly amount of taxes and fees associated with their still Schedule One federally illegal product. And what really, my legal mind, what kills me about it is that states like Kentucky and other states like Texas, Alabama, what was the latest one? All these other states that are trying to completely ban hemp products, they have medical programs. And so they promote a federally illegal product
For medical
and
use.
for medical use or even recreational use, but then they want to, California, they want to ban all the hemp products. How are
The
these?
hemp
Yeah,
products that are not mind altering, in
well,
that they're not going to
any
cause psychosis. Yeah.
any hemp products. Like some of these states, no hemp products are allowed to be sold anymore.
Now,
Texas is one of, yeah.
can you clarify?
Texas.
Can you clarify
So
what you mean by that, as far as, like, do you mean anything from the plant, including
any
the
any
federally illegal things?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it's not just products that can cause an intoxication. And I
Oh,
hate using that word anyway.
well,
So some states are literally wanting to ban all products, or they'll allow them, but only in a medical facility, medical dispensary, not facility, dispensary.
mhm.
So that would be stores like mine would be put out of business. And a lot of these states are doing that. And it kind of is, it is bizarre to me because in my head, that means all of these states that are doing that and they promote the marijuana, recreation, and medical, they're committing RICO. If we all did this and promoted a Schedule One narcotic that is under the DEA as a Schedule One narcotic, marijuana is, we would be in trouble for trafficking and all of that stuff. And yet, all these states, they're promoting that and they're okay with that, the recreation and the medical, but they're not okay with the federally legal products of hemp. Now, the big issue with that, they all talk about how, oh, Delta 8, got to get rid of Delta 8. It's synthetic, it's synthetic, it's synthetic. And technically, it's not. Delta 8 THC, it was not made up out of thin air. The plant the cannabis sativa plant starts with the mother cannabinoid, which is CBG, cannabigerol. Okay. In her blooming process, she creates all of these other cannabinoids. She creates CBD, she creates THC, she creates THCV, CBN, Delta 8, THC. There are 30,000 isomers of THC in this plant that we know of. Okay.
Okay.
When they did the law for hemp, they said all derivatives, all isomers, all salts, all products from the hemp plant are legal. That's the law. As long as it is below 0.3% Delta 9 THC. And they spelled that out. There, so when they talk about this loophole, how's it a loophole? We follow the law. Delta 8 is a naturally occurring cannabinoid in that plant. Now, is it a big cannabinoid in the plant? No. Can you extract it? Yes. But what you can also do is take any other cannabinoid in that plant, isolate it, and turn it literally through a synthesis product process. I'm not super chemically and challenged sometimes, but you can literally take that process and convert any cannabinoid to another cannabinoid. But it has to actually be a cannabinoid in the plant. So when
To
people
start
talk
with.
about, yes, so when people talk about Delta 8 being synthetic, it's not. I mean, if you want to apples to apples, then so is bourbon. So why don't we call bourbon synthetic? Why don't we call
Yeah.
bourbon intoxicating, right? Because bourbon doesn't flow naturally in this state. You have to go through a process.
Well, I think
Starts
it
with the
actually, I
hops,
think they
starts with the
found it.
sugar.
I think they found bourbon in the water just naturally.
Did they? Did
I
they?
don't know. I'm just kidding.
I
It's just,
mean,
but I do want to go to that though because I saw some research that was published recently about cannabinoids being found to be carcinogenic, and I believe I saw
and
you
I,
commented about that as well. It was really unfortunate, but it's like we know alcohol causes cancer. It's one of the
right?
most guaranteed ways to cause cancer, and we know how dangerous alcohol is, and yet it is legal.
And
We
they
know
promote it like it's the best thing on the earth.
it's like, well, every argument that you make about cannabinoids, I feel like can apply to alcohol, and so in my position, I really want to see, research be able to be done. And if people are afraid of association in order to attain that research, you're really holding the research back by making it illegal to even be near it, essentially.
Yep,
Um, and so that's holding us back from ways that it could be used to help people. Um, and like you said, that just keeps this whole thing of discriminating against people based on their skin color, but not really based on their skin color, right? A
right.
lot of people will go to
Oh, that
jail
never
on
happens.
a lot of people go to jail on mandatory minimums for marijuana possession, um, but then a lot of other people will get away with it. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very it's not fairly distributed in how they want to apply the law to everyone.
yeah. It's definitely not. And if
And
you have money and you have a good attorney, you know, so it's just a shame. But
yeah.
I took the chance, opened my store, and just recently I opened a satellite store down at Logan Street Market.
Mm-hmm.
And I, I love it. That I love that community feeling. I love being able to support other vendors down there, given ideas like what can we do to bring more people in. I mean, that whole community is just amazing, and all of the local vendors there are phenomenal, and they're all unique, and it's such a cool spot to be
It
in.
is. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just hoping that I get to stay and keep growing in Louisville because it is scary. I mean, there's just so much going on right now federally, and then even locally. I mean, gosh only knows what will happen next session. I already hear rumblings. I already hear that they're going to try to limit this, limit that, because they recently just
Oh,
took back,
you're
recently
good.
they just took back, um, they, we can no longer sell the drinks unless you have a liquor license. So I can no longer sell hemp beverages without a liquor license. And I'm like, but
Even
I
though
don't want to sell liquor.
there's no alcohol in them, right?
Correct. Yeah, none. So I mean, I have my own theories. I truly believe they did that because a lot of the younger generation, they do not like alcohol. They
Yeah.
do not like the taste of bourbon. They are not drinking like the older generation does. And the alcohol industry is losing money. And it
Mhm.
makes sense. But now, you know, when you go into a liquor store, there's the liquor companies are losing shelf space to the cannabis drinks. And what they did in Kentucky is they truly killed competition on the hemp beverages. They lowered the milligram to 5 milligrams, and stores like mine cannot sell them without a liquor license. And one, they are very, very, very hard to come by. They're very expensive. And it just opens you up to a whole world of extra rules and regulations that I just don't feel like are valid to me. So I have not, I thought about applying, but I just don't know that it's cost effective. I wasn't selling that many drinks. I did fight to keep that right though, and advocated for all the other retailers in Louisville and through the whole state. But the leadership and the Senate, the senator that actually filed the bill, she did it as a shell bill, which we didn't even know. It had already halfway passed and we didn't even know. So we're running down to Frankfurt. Um, so it's been a bit of a crazy year for me, I must say.
Mhm.
It's
Like a
like
roller coaster, right?
yes, very much a roller coaster. Right after we lost, like, and I hate to even say it, but right after we lost um, that bill and I can't sell the drinks, I ended up winning the nominated or won the Business First Enterprising Woman Award.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh my gosh, and I want to celebrate, and at the same time, I'm like, I can't breathe. There's more work
Mhm.
I've got to do, you know. So it's it's
Do things
that was
like,
an honor too.
yeah, do things like getting awards for your efforts, does that encourage you to keep going?
It's not the awards.
Well,
If I
I
never
just like, does it make
it,
no difference? Do you want to stop getting awards because they're distracting or
no, no, definitely not that. I am so humbled and appreciated to receive the awards. And sometimes I'm just like, holy crap, is this really my life? You know what I mean? Like, is this really me? This is me. And no, it's such an honor to get them. But what really keeps me going and fuels my fire to keep doing what I'm doing is my customers.
Mhm.
Like they the stories they tell me and how much I've helped them and how much like I will get emails in the middle of the night and like I just have to tell you this. I've passed I'm in remission or my son his autism he's starting to verbally communicate with me again. I mean, these are the things that I hear on a daily and I'm giving myself goose pimples. Um the pain, like I'm no longer in pain from whatever reason. Like I'm sleeping. I haven't slept in years. And that's what I that's what fuels me. That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me fighting. And it I mean, I've got a veteran who got off 11 prescription pills. 11. I mean, that's just stuff that, I would have never expected to hear that kind of success stories from the products I sell, but I do. And that's the whole reason I get up every day and I do what I do. It is for them because who else is going to fight for them? I mean, these are people that have been through hell, suffering from cancer, Parkinson's, and autism. It's just, and my products help them. And it reminds me every day why I do what I do. And I'm so, so grateful to be able to do it. And yes, I'm not kidding when I say the awards do mean a lot to me, because they do. But man, my customers mean the world to me. They really do. My family does too. I
Yeah.
mean, my family use these products. So
I mean, that's how it
when
all
I
started, right? You made them for
yeah,
yourselves. Yeah.
yeah, and we when my husband and I first got did this, I said, John, if we're going to do it, like, we cannot cut corners. We have to do the testing. It has to be A plus products. Like we've just done that from the get go, and that just always resonated with me, because I'm like, we take these products. I don't want to take something that's bad for my body. I don't want to sell something that's bad for my body. So, people come in my store all the time looking for some of these questionable products, and like it's almost become like the new cannabinoid du jour. Like, what new cannabinoids out there? Well, a lot of these so-called new cannabinoids are also mixed with other things that I do not sell. I won't sell it. I don't. I try to be as natural as possible. I mean, even our gummies are vegan, natural flavoring, natural colors. I try to be as natural as possible with my products. And even the ones that are not my products that I sell, I prefer as natural as possible. But it just amazes me how some of this stuff, and I get it. I guess that's why there's that part of me that, like, yeah, some of these bad actors do need to go, because they give people like me a bad name.
Yeah.
And I want to still stay in the community, and I want to keep providing these products, because not everyone qualifies for the medical program here in the state.
Yeah.
Like, people, and that's why I keep fighting, because they still need access to these products.
Hmm.
And it does amaze me, because there's some stuff out there. No, oh, don't take it. Do not use that stuff. Um, I think THCO is one. That is THC with acetate. They're putting literal acetate in it. And I'm like, that is not safe for anyone. Like, I know there's people that just use products just to get high, but I will not sell those kind of products. I do not sell kratom products. I believe that is a legal form of heroin. I'm surprised that they haven't shut that down now. I don't sell, like, I do not have a smoke shop here. It's not what I do.
Yeah. And I
I
think
don't
having
sell
that
questionable
visual,
stuff.
I think it's helpful to have that visual differentiator. It's like you don't come here for smoking products, right? And
No.
so that keeps the focus clearer, I think,
Yeah.
visually as well. So, um, in starting your business and networking as a businesswoman in Louisville and the surrounding area, what other like groups and organizations have you found to be really helpful for that?
So I am in quite a few chambers. I'm actually on the board of the Chamber for St. Matthews. That was one of the first ones I joined. I J-Town Chamber, Middletown Chamber, Prospect Chamber. I'm also a member of LIBA, which is Louisville Independent Business Alliance. And what I like about them is that they focus on local, 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 local. And it's funny, because their slogan is "Keep Louisville Weird." And
Hmm.
it's perfect. It's a perfect fitting, because I'm weird, and I'm okay to be weird. I'm actually proud of being weird. I'm not the normal person. But I love that they support, like, true locals. And if we don't support locals, a lot of these big companies, they're not the ones that, doing the sponsorships. I do a ton of sponsorships. I try to give back to the community as much as I possibly can, both financially and even just with my time. And I just think that's super important. Um, I'm also a member of NAWBO, Better Business Bureau. I've got an A plus rating there, but it is so important if you are trying to start a business to go out and network, go out and meet people. The WO network, that's for women business owners. They're new. They're doing all kinds of cool stuff. I think that's how you and I met. No, you and I met some other way.
Girl, you and I have been
Um,
orbiting each other very
for a
actively for a
while.
while.
For a
So
while.
I don't even know where we
I don't think it's through that. I think it's been
I think
longer than that.
I might have seen you for the first time at like the J-Town Farmers Market. Does that sound right?
Maybe.
Have you had a
Yeah,
table there
Gaslight.
sometimes?
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
I've sat up at
Yeah.
Gaslight for, oh my gosh, I think I'm going on year 10. I think this is my 10th year at Gaslight, I think,
Yeah.
either 9 or 10. But yeah, I've been doing it a while. So, but yeah, I mean, it's all about, I think when people meet me, they know I'm not a stoner. You know
Right.
what I mean? I'm not just some hippy dippy getting,
Right.
getting high and doing that kind of stuff. And I think that is important too because of who I am. Now I don't care if you do, obviously I, I'm pro. I'm very pro. I don't get high all the time. Now, if I were to take a drug test and they tested me for THC, I would totally fail because I use full spectrum CBD oil. But I think it's so important. Be yourself. Oh man, that's the one thing to tell business owners. I had one young lady, she's like, I want to be just like you. I'm like, no way. No, you do not. You need to be yourself. You need to be yourself and carve your own path. And I just think that's super important. But man, I'm all about supporting female business owners too. Like that is so important to me because I feel even though we have come such a long way, man, we are still discriminated against. Like there are wholesale accounts where I absolutely will not be able to make the sale. And it's strictly because I'm a woman. And I'm not even kidding you, even to this
Why?
day,
I don't
because they
understand.
They do not want to deal with a woman. And granted, some of these companies that I, have talked to and stuff, they are definitely foreign owners. So they have their own rules about if they will even talk to women. So it's not
Wait,
just not
that's
just
fair.
us. Yeah. But they're even as Americans, I
Yeah.
will still come across that.
Yeah.
So
There's
I
some
am
American religious organizations that don't let
very
their
much so.
women be speaking to other people. So that would make it really hard to be a businesswoman if you're not allowed to speak to
Yes.
men ever.
Yeah. And that's the one awesome thing about my husband. He's always been so supportive of me. Like he has always been super supportive and my cheerleader and the first person I want to call when I've had a bad day, you know what I mean? So it's different. And I've even told him, I'm like, when we've been at things, I had a reporter once say, John and Dee Dee own 502. I'm like, no, John and Dee Dee doesn't. Dee Dee owns 502. And my husband just kind of laughs. He's like, well, isn't it ours? I'm like, no, no, we may be a partner. We may be married, but no, that is my store. And
Right.
but it's true. I mean, they just assume that the husband owns it as well. Now, John and I have another business together, and we are
Yeah.
50-50 partnerships in that business. But
You're
no,
not.
I own 502 and I own 812. Yeah.
Well, can you mention the other business or is it a secret or?
Oh no, so my husband owns we own a processing. So we make a lot of the CBD products, but we make them now. He had to close his original business. It just so many rules and regulations kind of ran him out of business, and it
Mhm.
was a shame. And he is actually refuge, and he actually he works out of my 812 store.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he still makes my products, which
Fantastic.
is great. Yeah, so he still has, well, I say he, but we own that business together.
Well, and let me ask you as well, are there some incentives for businesses to be woman owned? Because I've heard of some companies that are owned by a couple have the wife as a 51% owner because then it's woman owned. Can there
I
can there
can
be
say
some benefits to that?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I can say I'm woman owned, but as far as getting like the woman owned certification, it would
Hmm.
not help me any because I can't get government contracts. I can't even, I
Hmm.
mean, the military can't even use my products, you
Hmm.
know, DOD can't, people can't use my products. So it would not help me that much, but it definitely would help others. Now, my husband's a veteran, and when he applied to get his business, they don't charge veterans that $40 fee or whatever it is. So that's kind of, I mean, that's more of an incentive for him,
Hmm.
which is good. But no, not really for me. I mean, I can say I'm woman owned, and I know I just filled something out for Business First about the whole woman owned thing. So,
Hmm.
I mean,
Right.
yeah, probably
So
somewhat.
sometimes it's a benefit and more times it's not, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for myself, I think it's a huge benefit because I did it.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And I didn't need a man to help me do it. I mean, granted, he's a support and he makes some of my products, but I mean, I've done it.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I didn't realize or take into consider. I didn't take it until Yeah. Let me start over. I'm really tired. Um, I was surprised to learn. I think it was in 1988. It was made legal that a woman could have a checking account without having a man sign off on it. That's the year I was born. So my whole
and
life, this is something I've taken for granted. But I didn't
same.
realize that my mother was not able to get her own
Hmm.
checking account without a man signing for her until
Yep.
the year I was born. Like, what? That
And
sounds
it,
so
and
preposterous.
right. But and like nowadays, like, I'm like, why would you put up with that man that treats you like shit? Excuse
That's
my
why.
language. Um,
That
but that is why.
that's why.
That's why they had to do it because they could I mean half yeah, they could work, but then it all went to the husband. So I it was hard once I was old enough to understand why my mom stayed in some of the situations she stayed in. Now I get it, but it was because she didn't really have any rights. Where you're right, we have taken a lot of that for granted. I mean, we couldn't have credit cards, we couldn't buy, you know, homes or any of that stuff. So it, and I guess there's just still that little bit of pride in me because my dad was extremely controlling, and I always knew that I would never have a man like him, and I don't. Thank you for that. Um,
Mhm.
and I think there's just that it actually fueled me a little bit more to be more independent. And sometimes in today's world, people either like that or they don't, you know, when it comes to women and being independent. Now, do I still need my husband? Yeah, of course I do. Can I survive without him? Yeah. Would it suck? It kind of would,
Mhm.
because I love him and he is my partner in life. But
Mhm.
at the same time, I also know I was also pretty much raised myself to be independent because I saw how much my mom struggled over men and what they did to her. So I was like, that will not be me as an adult. And it's amazing. I learned from my elders. I really did.
Yeah.
I think that that's the one thing I could tell anybody. Learn from the older people. They've already done it. They've already been there. You can learn so much from someone that's older than you. You really can. So
Right.
I've always just taken that to heart.
Definitely. Well, I learn a lot from you all the time, Dee Dee. I follow you on all the social media platforms, and so I appreciate you sharing there. And you have your own podcast, right? Can you share the name of it?
I do. It's
Mhm.
called Hemp and Happiness. So, and I need to do one. I haven't done one in a while. Poor Bev and I have been working so much, but yes, it's called Hemp and Happiness. And we talk about a lot of the cannabinoids, what they do. We get a little bit more in depth. We definitely get in more depth about the, the legislative issues. I cuss a lot, so I will just warn everybody if you're okay with listening. They're just words to me. You know, I kind of majored in writing, so they've just always been words to me. And my professors loved it when I would write in my stories and I would cuss. So
And maybe it woke
just
them
warning
up
everybody.
after reading a bunch of other
Yeah,
boring stuff. Well,
yeah,
where can
right.
people
You get
find
a little
you?
chuckle.
Yeah, where can people find you and your products
So
online?
yes, online 502hemp.com or 812hemp.com. And my stores, my original store is on Shelbyville Road and Mosier. So right off of Shelbyville on Mosier. That's my original store in the East End. And then my other store is the Logan Street Market, our little satellite store. And then 812 Hemp is in Clarksville, Indiana. So not very far. It's kind of, I kind of liked how Logan Street was kind of in the middle of the two. And I'm down at Logan Street quite a bit myself right now, still
Hmm.
building that up. So if people want to
Any
actually talk to me, they can.
any excuse to get some of that good food, right?
Oh my gosh, it is amazing.
A
Like
treasure
amazing. I can't.
trove. Yeah.
It really is. And so eclectic and different. It's not the normal food. You know what I mean? It's not,
Mhm.
uh, it is normal food, but I mean, it's not the
I
regular old
mean,
stuff that people eat.
no. Yeah. I mean,
They got
I have a
Jerusalem
friend,
Kitchen. Yeah.
and like Zeba's Bistro. And then I have a
Zebas.
friend
Yep.
who's like always posting pictures of her lox bagels that she gets there.
Oh, and
Yeah.
let me just tell you, I'm gluten intolerant. But oh my gosh, I brought in one of my kosher bagels and he like toasted it for me and then did his eggs and cheese on it. Oh, it was heaven.
That's
It was heaven.
amazing.
It was
Oh,
super good. Yeah. So that was super nice of him to do that for me because I'm like, do you have gluten free? He's like, I don't. So I found some and then I'm like, would you? And he's like, of course, you know, as
that's
long as it's
fantastic.
kosher. And I'm like, thank you. So that was really cool.
Has to be
So that's
kosher
how you
and
do it.
gluten free.
Yes, yep, kosher and gluten free, but he did. And I paid him obviously for the egg and cheese and putting my sandwich together, but well, I'm down there all day smelling this amazing, all these amazing smells, and I'm like, I can't eat half of this stuff. So, but for those that can, come down and eat at Logan Street Market. It is such a cool place. They even have like this big room filled with pinball machines and old
Hmm.
games. It is so much fun. I love that kind of stuff. So it's very family friendly. It really is. And they're having different shows coming in and on Wednesday nights
Oh,
they're doing karaoke.
oh,
So they got
neat.
a stage down there. Yeah, they've got different artists coming in, playing music and things like that. So they're really trying and they got the coffee is really good too. So for people that like free fruit coffee, it is really
Hmm.
good. And it's not super expensive. So I say support local as much as you possibly can because we are the backbone of the community.
And that's what makes Louisville such a unique and fun place. Well,
Yes.
Dee Dee, thank you so much for joining me today on the Lou
Thank
Review
you.
podcast. And if you enjoyed listening to this episode, feel free to like and subscribe wherever you're listening, if it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or if you're watching the video on YouTube. And leave me a comment if you enjoyed this or if you know another person that needs to be spotlighted in the Louisville, Kentucky area because they are making the world a better place starting locally. And I'll see you in the next episode.